Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to WOR Console Tier 2. We are here tonight for Season 19. It is round 1 of the Championship as we take in the Chinese Grand Prix from the Shanghai International Circuit. My name is James Head, going to be filling in for Mr. Ace himself, who is once again not here for a season opener for Console Tier 2. I'll be taking you through the stream, of course, alongside Ace's regular partner in Console Tier 2 this season. It is Mr. Dom Izzy. Dom, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing very good, mate. Very excited to see how this race plans out. Of course, season opener, so quite excited to see who will prevail, who will be championship contenders here. How are you today, James?
I'm honestly doing really, really well indeed. Got a message 8 o'clock this morning asking to fill in, and I'm here. So it's all fine and rosy in my world, certainly. It is going to be a really interesting night, as you say, with the placements that happen. Those are the drivers that you can see on your screen that are going to be racing here tonight. We have got 18 in the lobby, so we are missing a few from this graphic. But to run through from left to right, we've got TTM Nick, FRT Typical, Schumacher, ESB Bobbert, Simbarox, Finn Bob, more Minotaur. That was a bit of a mouthful to say when I saw it on the graphic there. Samuel, Harvey, and then Nail. I'll go with Nile for now.
Nail
Or
Guidot, I think.
Nail Guio. Yeah, something like that. We'll get the
Guiot,
pronunciation.
something like that.
Yeah, we'll get it in the end. The Alpha Kevin, and then we've got ET8 Lawrence, Man Like Karumi, AGK Racing, TTM Carlitos, of course, PSGL F2 man. Adis, Max von der Geese, who's a PSF1 man, Nam, and then FRT Dan, filling out the console tier 2 grid, of course, with reserves Mem, Trey, Kevin's Venom, Finley, Blunty, Chris RB, and I believe Agonize is also on the reserve list as well. Console tier 2. Having a look at that placement graphic and having a look at the names that's on there, I was speaking to you just before we came live, and I said this. It is one of the most open console tier 2s I think we've ever had on paper.
Yeah, definitely. You can see some really, really good drivers here. For example, Max van der Geest, Nick, Alpha Kevin, etc. Finn Bob as well. Some really big names we've seen on console throughout the entirety of the game cycle, especially in events like World and EML that you run, of course, James. But I'm very excited to see how this first race pans out, and as I've said earlier, quite excited to see who will be the championship contenders for this specific tier. Of course, tier 1 is running at the same time, so quite excited to see how that turns out as well. We can see some of the drivers now going on their out laps and warming up their tyres and prepping their cars perfect for their first run.
Yeah, first man out on track is the TF10 man, as you mentioned, is Max von der Geese, coming through the left-hander turn number 3, through the left-hander now turn number 4, coming towards the end of this first sector split. Very quick first sector around here, of course, in China. 23.6 in the first sector. Expect guys to be around a 23.3, 23.4 as we progress through the session. Sound, by the way, is now working, so apologies if the sound was off on your end on the stream, as Max von der Geese now comes through the left-hander 7, now through the right-hander turn number 8, slight slide actually coming through 7, now through the right-hander turn number 8, and then in towards my favourite two corners out on track, the left-handers of turns 9 and the left-hander turn number 10, then in toward the left-hander of turn number 11, middle sector split about to come up, 50.7 even, for Max von der Geese, has a bit of a front look up in towards turn 11, now through the double right even, at turns 12 and 13, so far hasn't looked a bad lap for Max von der Geese so far.
Yeah, very good lap. He's now going onto the straight and opening the DRS for the second time this lap, actually. Now he has to set up the car perfectly going into the hairpin here. Very, very important to get the car and to brake as late as possible. Use as much of the track as possible and make sure not to invalidate the lap there. He slides slightly on the exit there. Now through here very hard on the track limit. Takes that apex well, takes the exit. Oh no, he doesn't. He invalidates, unfortunately. For the TF10 man next across the line, I think is a Williams, and that's Samuel Bark, who's also invalidated. Just behind him is a Mercedes of a man like who will be the first one to set a lap, and it is a 30.291. You can see some of the other drivers now populating the timing sheets. AGK Racing next across the line with a 30.1, and Harvey 29.9 going to provisional pole for this qualifying session so far. We can see loads of other drivers now coming across the line. Nick in 4th as well. AGK, pretty good for the man so far. Of course, he signed to a Versio Academy not that long ago, but quite excited to see what the rest of the drivers can do on their first runs.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm honestly not surprised that Harvey is up there. To be honest, AJK Racing there in second, man like in third, more Minotaur and the Red Bull just coming to the line there, going into P6. Max von der Geese obviously backing off on his lap. Nail not backing up on his lap time either. Karumi invalidated. Samuel Barker invalid. Bobbits hasn't even came out the pit lane yet. And then we've got the likes of Chris RB and Nam who are also invalidated. So half of the field setting runs, half of the field not setting runs. And at the minute, FRT Harvey out on top. Former WOR Console Tier 1 man, of course, I think from last season. AJK Racing in second, Manlike in third. And at this moment in time, 3/10 covering the top three is quite sparse compared to normally what we expect here in qualifying, where it's normally quite close.
Yeah, we can see, of course, as you said, Harvey dominating in the first runs, but it's only 9 drivers who have set laps, and some of the top guys who I was expecting at the top haven't set laps quite yet. Of course, after they invalidated or just haven't set a lap just yet. But you can see, as you said, quite sparse between the entire grid. But looking from third down to ninth is quite a small gap between the rest of them. I think everybody else is going to the pits now, setting up their cars for the second runs. I think there will be a lobby restart, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, no, yep, normal lobby restart as occurs, of course, because ghosting and everything within qualifying. Obviously, we'll get an intermission as well. We will play you through that as well. Simba Rocks, though, on the run down and towards turn number 1. He's the first man to go on to a second lap time. I think it's his first lap time, actually, out on track with the Aston Martin. Former podium setter in WR Legacy Division, of course, Simba Rocks. Now coming through the right-hander of turn number 2, then in through the left-hander of turn number 3. Gotta say, I absolutely love driving around this track whenever I'm out on track. I'm not sure about you, Tom, out on track either, but this for me is one of my favourite tracks to drive on, and Simba certainly looking good so far. 23.5, certainly mirroring down to the track very neatly indeed, coming out through the left-hand of turn 7.
Yeah, purple sector 1 for the FRT man, going through this technical section of the track, which I've always hated to do, but Simbarox is doing it very, very well here now, going through into this small straight here into the sector 2 split. What time will it be for the Aston Martin man? Is purple, and it's a 50.604. Nice to set up the car perfectly for this very long straight here. Of course, going into the next corner is a really good overtaking zone in the race, so quite excited to see some moves going into there. But now, of course, DRS opens halfway down the straight. He goes through into the final straight here, now staying on the car perfectly for the final corner. Brake at the 100-meter board or where that curb starts. Use as much of the apex as possible. Make sure not to invalidate that. Now going into the final corner here, keep as much speed as possible here to make sure you have a good lap. Use as much of the track as possible. Now comes across the line.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be provisional pole for Simbarox 1 with a 29.947, which is only 100th faster than his teammate Harvey.
Finn Bob, however, is looking pretty much on par with Simbabox in the middle sector. 50.5, just coming on board with them there in through the middle sector. Now running down the straight in towards turn number 14. That hairpin comes at you very quickly indeed. Jaime Alguersuari, famously, of course, or Sebastian Buemi, one of the 2 Toro Rossos back in the day, famously lost all 4 wheels and cascaded into the gravel in 2011, believing free practice around here. Finn Bob right in the curb, very aggressively there, coming through 14, now to the left hand of 15, and then Simbabox, Harvey, and AGK racing there in third. Thanks your average racing driver there in the chat. Finn Bob to the line, he now goes quicker than Simbabox. Very good lap time on the board from him. ESV Bobbits now now part of Team Chazoo, of course, running the Ferrari. He he drove, of course, in the ML on Wednesday night. Comes to the line, goes 5th position, 30.2. Very good lap times on the board, but we are now seeing the drivers beginning to set on their second runs. Finn Bob, though, now out on top. Simbarox in second, Harvey there in third. And for us in the commentary box, it pains me to say, anyways, top 3 are currently Xbox.
Yeah, definitely. For the highest PlayStation man is AGK Racing, and as I've mentioned earlier in the stream, he has recently joined the Versu Academy at the time of speaking. I think it was a week or 2 ago now, but moving on from that, we see some other drivers now beginning their laps. Who's currently first across? I can't actually tell you that, but More Minotaur is the only driver to not be on a lap. Now he is though, so everybody is now on a lap. There's a V car going through the final straight. He's on a lap, and I think that is Max van der Geest going into the final DRS race of this race, going into turn 40, I believe it is, and now braking as late as possible, uses as much of the curve as possible. A little bit slidey on the apex there, but of course keeps the car nice and secure. He comes across the line. Where's it going to be for the TF10 man? He comes across the line now. Where's the 0? One final time. It's going to be third place for the TF10 man with a 29.948. Next across the line will be a Williams of I actually don't know who that is. I think that's
Samuel Barker.
He's invalidated.
Yeah, Sam Barker there invalidating down in 17th in the Williams. Chris RB, I think, is going to be one of the next to come across the line. He's on the run down in towards 10.14. Nam, the same as well. Typical, however, hasn't got a lap time really on the board as TF10 Nick there, formerly of TTM, goes second there in the McLaren. FRT Typical, though, one of the favourites maybe to take pole position. 30.2, the FRT man, down in P10. I would say diabolical lap time in the end, but he's only 4/10 off the top position of Finn Bob. Nick there in second, Timberbox there in third. So he can try and improve, obviously, as the session goes on. Trey as well is on a lap. Nail as well is on a lap time. Again, I'm butchering that pronunciation, so sorry about that. Finn Bob though out on top, Nick there in second, Timberbox there currently in third position. Look at how the top 6 are though, with Karumi also adding into his time in the Alpine. The top 6 currently separated by less than a 1/10 of a second. That is more like it, certainly, for qualifying around this track.
Yeah, very, very close gaps. Only the top 6 in the 29 so far, but of course, still got 7 minutes left of the session, so it's still very subject to change throughout the rest of the session. We can see some of the drivers now going to the pits now after their second runs now. Maybe some drivers will begin to be going up for third runs. They have enough time to set a lap. We can see the order so far, of course, Finn Bob being in first place for Kick in here. TF10 Nick in second place, followed by Simbarox 1 in third. Max van der Geest in fourth, followed by Harvey in fifth. Karumi, a recent signing for Top Tier Motorsport, in sixth place. EXT Nam in seventh. AGK Racing in eighth. TTM Carlitos in ninth. Man Life in 10th. More Minotaur in 11th. Typical in 12th. Bobberts in 13th. Triart in 14th. Neil Guio in 15th. Schumacher 1 in 16th. Chris in 17th. And the only driver to not set time, Samuel Barker.
Oh, as EXT Nam, sorry, just ran a ball with him, comes into the pit lane, nearly did Lewis Hamilton in 2007, where of course there was gravel on the outside. Hamilton got his car beached. Nam luckily had the escape road to try and stop himself, but he was very close to the wall there coming into the pit lane. So he is trying, maybe, to give me a little bit of a heart attack here in the comments box at least. Samuel Barker, by the way, I think is on a lap, 54.6 in the middle sector, nowhere near where he wants to be. Overtake mode now on the course. He's going to use up all of this overtake mode down the straight, but he has very much struggled so far in this qualifying session. Hasn't got a lap time on the board at this moment in time. Chris RB, Schumacher, Nail ahead of him. He'll be aiming to go around that sort of time. As I say, I'm not sure if he is on a lap time, but he definitely looks like he's going to try and set a valid run and then maybe go again. But Sam Parker now coming into the left-hander the left-hander now 15, and he's run out of fuel and he's coming back into the pit lane. So the Williams man not on a lap time for now. Finn Bob, though, is on a lap time, and he's 800ths up in the first sector. So he's Kick Sauber, looking to try and improve with 5 minutes to go in the session.
Yeah, definitely. Now going through into the second sector here, going through these very, very technical corners here. You have to make sure you keep as much minimum speed as possible and try not to spin the car as well, like he's just done there. So that is Finn Bob's lap time pretty much over for him. He was up by very minimal margins, but now he's down by a whole second. Anybody else on a lap? James, help me out here.
Simbarox is coming through the right
hand.
Nails
just on.
Yeah, Simbarox, sorry, he's just about to finish up on his lap time as well. The Aston Martin man is coming in the pit lane. Absolutely typical. FRT Harvey, is he on a lap coming through the final corner? Yes, he is. FRT Harvey now on the run toward the line. The Aston Martin looking to try and improve. Oh, and he does. 29.7. Big final sector there for the FRT man. Goes into the lead. A tenth and a half clear of Finn Bob, nearly even 2/10 of a second clear of Finn Bob. Nail, you mentioned, is on a lap time as well, 600 up. Now coming through the left-hand turn number 10. His middle sector split is coming in very soon indeed. The McLaren in the middle sector, 50.7. So he is up. Harvey did set a 50.7, I think, in the middle sector on his previous run. So Harvey out on top, Finn Bob second, Nick there in third. And actually, the McLaren is the only man on a lap time right now, running down in towards turn 14.
Yeah, definitely opening the DRS for one final time here. Of course, the DRS does open halfway down the straight now going into turn 14. Make sure to brake as late as possible. Use as much of the apex curve as you possibly can. Now set up the car perfectly for this high-speed left-hander. Will he finish the lap? Yes, he does. Goes round the left-hander and now going to finish his lap. It's going to be a 30.0.
Yeah, 30.0 indeed. The McLaren there in 7th position. AGK Racing and TTM Carlitos as well on a better set on the lap time. Carlitos, of course, PSGL PSF2 man. I believe he's picked up a podium finish as well in PSGL PSF2 this season. So has got good form coming into tonight, certainly, as an Aston Martin just goes on through him. Coming into that's Harvey, I think, trying to get back for another run. Carlitos is about to set up on his lap time. Former Rising Lions man, now part of the TTM setup, of course. Top Team Motorsport qualifying for PSGL E-Series. If I can get my words out, that'll be brilliant. Carlitos now running down into the right hand of the turn number 1. Ronnie on board with his first sector as he nearly goes for a spin. Coming through the right-handed turn number 1, now through the right-handed 2, through the left-handed turn number 3, but that is a scrappy opening to the lap again. Through the left-handed 3 and 4, very scrappy again. This might be a lap time that gets binned off potentially for Carlitos. 400 down. If I was him, I'd go again.
No, but I would.
Back out.
Yeah, I think he's backed out.
Apologies, by the way, if there is just a little bit of lag going on the stream end. My OBS has just decided to drop a little bit of frames. We're back now, though. TTM Carlitos there in 10:30.1. I think, honestly, how that first sector went, coming out of turn 1, he got caught in the inside curb, nearly overtook the car around, and then through the left-hander 3, had a snap of oversteer, corrected it, but that, all in all, I think cost him about a tenth, maybe even 2/10 of a second in that first sector, so I'm actually not surprised that he's backed off on his lap time. Somebody that is going number 10 even, now until the left-hander turn of 11. We'll see what his middle sector split. He's 200 up, so he's not going too bad at all. Coming through the middle sector, typical as well. Just bar.
But yeah, as you have mentioned, AGK now opens the DRS for the second time. His lap, the Haas moves out of the way for him. And as he goes into the final hairpin here, now sets up the car as well as he possibly can for the final left hand here. What lap time will it be for the Versio man? Of course, it says AMS on his game tag. That's because he hasn't changed it just yet. He goes to second place in 29.862. Stellar lap for the V-Carb man. Anybody else out on a lap? I think Manlike has just come across. No, he hasn't. Manlike is on a lap though. He is going into the left-hander of turn number 11. And 8. Now into the centre of the track he goes and opens the DRS for the second time. This lap now has to set up the car as well as he possibly can, going into the final chicane here. Checker flag is waved, and we can see two drivers have already taken it. Manlike going through the final shaky on the apex, but moves up to 7th place with a 29.948, which is a 2/10 improvement on his lap. Next across the line will be Carlitos, who runs off the track, but overtaking him is the Ferrari of Bobberts, who we've coming across the line now. What lap time will it be for him? It's P9, and it's a 30.0. You can see an Aston Martin, but just behind him as well of Simbrox 1, who goes into the pits. Williams just behind him, no clue who that is. I think that's the trio who moves up one place to 14th. You can see also an Alpine in behind him of, I believe, Karuna, who violates on that final corner. You can see Nam as well coming across the line. Where will it be for the Frenchman? He moves up to 5th place. Mercedes as well now coming across the lap times, followed by Minotaur, sorry. I think that's everyone, so that's FRT Harvey on pole position for you here, followed by Finn Bob in 2nd place, AGK Racing in 3rd, Nick in 4th, Nam in 5th, Simbrox 1 in 6th, Max van der Gate in 7th, Manlike in 8th, Karumi in 9th, More Minotaur in 10th, Bobbitt's in 11th, and Schumacher in 12th. Neil Guiot, I think is how you say that, in 13th. Carlitos in 14th. Typical in 15th. Chris 16th. Triar and Samuel Barker, the Williams pairing, rounding out that final 2 positions there.
Yeah, very neat qualifying there from Harvey. Managed to get the lap time on the ball. Finn Bob there in 2nd as well. Really not surprised that they're up there, to be honest. They are pretty much up there in terms of Lacey Division, in terms of WOR Console Tier 1 in the past as well. In 2nd, AGK there in 3rd, with Nick in 4th. Nam there in 5th, with Simberbox in 6th, Max von der Geest in 7th. And there's a bit of a glitch because Manlike has set a 0.238, but he's 8th. Weird. Karumi in 9th, more Minotaur there round off the top 10. Then it's Bobbitt, Schumacher, Neil Guio, and then Carlitos, typical round off the top 15. Then Chris RB, Trey, and then Samuel Barkley. I have to restart the stream. Not sure if there's something going on maybe with the stream. I apologise. I will try and fix things though as we go through. We'll be